So many different times in my life, I've played with broken or hurt things, broken foot, broken leg, broken hand, broken arm, broken sternum, broken collarbone. I could keep going if I just thought more about bones. Why, man? Because I loved it. I loved playing the game. I was passionate about it. One of the reasons I even get encouraged at seeing all of you here. Do you know why I get encouraged by that? Is because you could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you. And they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zuttner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women. 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks. I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio. And now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Clay, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing awesome. You know, I was getting up this morning, getting ready for life, you know, and I was thinking, like, you ever had like a bad hair day? I feel like I'm having like a bad hair year.
Wow, that's tough.
You know what I mean? I started realizing, like, I feel like people are not tuning in to I've realized they're obviously tuning in for the content.
Because of the hair, it's scaring some people away.
Well, it's a deal where they're fighting through the bad hair and to get
aggressive.
to the good content. I just have a lot more respect for you.
Thank you. And hopefully this can encourage you a little bit. But today we're talking about getting promoted.
Oh, come on.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I know you own 9 businesses. You employ a good amount of people. How many people, I guess, general, with all your businesses, would you call your employee?
Just so we're clear, owning and then investing or partnering in a business are somewhat merged together. So if I own a minority slice of a company or I own the majority of a company, that's kind of how do you get to that 9.
Okay.
But there's, in the photography business, there's probably 25, 30 people, and then Thrive, there's probably 50, 60 people that are working on Thrive in some capacity, and then you have, you add it all up and there's 100-ish.
Okay. So you've promoted people, fired people. You've done that for a while now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be able to sit down with you and show us what we need to be doing to get promoted. But personally, I feel like, I don't have as much experience as you do, but I feel like it's time to promote you to my broda status. Like you've reached that status. You are now officially my broda. You've been promoted. Hopefully that, helps with the whole hair thing.
Well, confidence is sexy, and that makes me feel confident. So that makes me feel sexy.
That's uncomfortable. So we're going to just keep moving forward and act like you didn't say it. Getting promoted, okay? That's what we're talking about today. What's interesting to me, though, is that a lot of people aren't focused on getting promoted at all because they hate their job. We've talked about it in a few other episodes here, but Business Insider says 80% of people are dissatisfied with their job. Now, 80%.
Now, if you're making a pie chart, and that'd be 8/10 of that pie chart would be unhappy.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a lot of pie left for people that were happy.
If you had 10 M&Ms you were eating, it would be like 8 of those just not being there.
Now you're getting deep.
So I just want to make sure everybody understands it.
Calm down.
I got a little notable quotable here, though, okay?
Yeah.
This is from Russell Simmons. Just go ahead and tell us a little bit about Russell Simmons. Why should we be listening to Russell Simmons?
I get excited when I hear the name Russell Simmons. One, because it's got 4 syllables.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just thought about that.
It's exciting.
But also, he started Def Jam,
Yeah.
which was the record label that Jay-Z was signed to. His brother was in Run DMC, and he had a lisp. He wasn't very good at speaking, but he decided to be like the guy who ran the business side of it. He started Fat Farm, one of the first hip-hop clothing lines. He started the Def Comedy Jam. He just did so many big things to take hip-hop music and make it relevant. He was the guy. So if you hate hip-hop and you're like, well, the kids today are listening to that hip-hop, the hippity-hop, then, you don't like Russell Simmons maybe. But if you're me, you're going, oh yeah. So I think of Russell, this is a self-made entrepreneur who overcame some serious adversity and to do some big things.
Okay, so here's what he has to say, okay? This is a notable quotable from his book. He says, if you're willing to work hard but don't know where to start, just look around. Go out on the block and find a store with dirty sidewalk and start sweeping it. Don't worry about whether the owner's going to pay you or not. Just start sweeping. Don't worry if your friends come down to the block and start calling you a sucker. Just keep sweeping. Don't worry if a girl you like walks by and sees you with a broom in your hand. Just keep sweeping and working your hardest to make sure that the sidewalk always looks good. Because if you come out every morning and sweep the front store every day with a smile, it won't be long before the owner notices you and finds you a job inside the store. Maybe he'll put you in charge of stocking one of the aisles. And if you stock those aisles with the same dedication and hard work and the same smile, before long the boss might make you the weekend manager. What is he saying here? Why is this so important, and how does this apply to what we're talking about?
There's 4 things I think that were powerful in that statement.
Okay,
one is he's talking about sweeping. Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to be a business owner, you want to be a manager. Well, you have to deal with a bunch of crap if you're at the top or if you're at the bottom. So as an owner, I remember it snowed here just recently, and it was about 6 months ago it was snowing, and who had to sweep that day? I did.
Right.
You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And so people at the top, you'll find them a lot of times doing the things that people at the bottom are doing because you have to do whatever it takes. If you're a leader, you have to do whatever it takes. So you got to have the humility to start at the bottom and be humble enough to do that. The second is the smile. To smile while sweeping. That's very few people whistle while they work. Very few people seem happy while they're doing something. I just think that's a decision. That's a sign of maturity. Then every day, if you take the word day, you put the word every in front of it, that's not very fun. Most people want to be motivated for a day, but every day, that's a lot of days. That's every day. And then the whole thing about people calling you a sucker, people do say things to you when they see you doing things that are abnormal. And it's not normal to be successful. 80% of people cling to dysfunction. They're not having any success, and they get kind of alarmed if you begin to have some success. So there's those 4 ideas: sweeping, smiling every day, and not listening to what people are thinking. That to me, he said a lot there. And I just think you need to marinate on it. Just kind of rotisserie. Just let it just sort of.
Yeah.
Just.
That was big. It was pretty packed.
Yeah. It's just kind of marinate that. Put a nice rub on there.
Oh,
nice
That's nice.
kind of bake it in. Just kind of then put it on the grill. It's.
Let me ask you this. In all seriousness, you work with a ton of clients.
Yeah.
And I know that you've seen and even worked with all their teams and everything.
Yeah.
What is it that keeps most people from applying this kind of work ethic, or at least having this mentality in the companies that you've worked with?
Well, as a general rule, what we want to do is we want to become promoted before we become a pro at something. Now, the pro is the front part of that word, but promoted, the idea is to be a pro. You're in the top 5% of what you do. Just yesterday, I was talking to a guy who I've looked up to for years. Just megawatt, hero in my mind. And, he, in my mind, of orators, of speakers, is in that top 5%, niche.
Yeah.
And when he's a pro, though, the speaking fee between a pro and an amateur is vastly different.
Right.
And so when you get up there to speak and you're a pro, people stand up and cheer every time. He's an ovation guy every time. And that pro, that top 5%, to be the kind of speaker that gets a standing ovation, or no matter what job you're doing, if you're working as let's say a web developer, you're working as a janitor, you're working as a manager, to be in the top 5% of all managers or all janitors, that's where the money is. But we want to get promoted before we become a pro.
Okay.
And we're just frustrated because we're like, and we start saying stuff like, well, I've been here for 5 years, I haven't even been promoted yet. Right. If I would get promoted, then I would start doing it. And I will just tell you, the thing about this is that leadership is something you appoint yourself to. You just start doing it, and then somebody will recognize you with the title and the check. You start doing
is something you appoint yourself to.
Yeah, and then you start acting like it, and then somebody else comes in later and starts giving you the check and the title, but you have to act like it first. You can't say, I'm going to start being a pro once I get promoted.
Okay, well, here's the deal. We want to give you specific action steps, okay? Things that you can do to start getting promoted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So we've got 3. This is the overview of the episode.
And I'm going to say this. I guarantee if you'll do these steps, I guarantee you, if you do these steps, you will get promoted. You say, well, how long? If you do this for 6 months, I guarantee you get promoted. And if you don't get promoted, I call this the steak dinner guarantee.
Right.
I will take you out for a steak dinner. Yep. Now, I will get you a big steak. I'll watch you eat the steak. I won't eat any steak. I'll just watch you eat the steak. Steak dinner guarantee.
He'll probably say something like, in my face.
Yeah.
In my face.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be in my face moment. Now, when you go to the bathroom, I'll order a steak and I'll eat it real fast. But the point is, I'm going to get you a steak.
You won't see it.
Yeah, my steak might be bigger than what I get for you.
Here we go. This is what we're talking about today, okay? We've got 3 principles. The first principle is finding problems. The second one is bring solutions. The third one is be consistent, okay? So let's go ahead and jump into these, unpack them. Here we go. The first one, find problems.
Yeah.
We've got a notable quotable here as we start this principle discussion. This is a quote here from Thomas Edison. Ooh. Have you heard of the man?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing about Thomas Edison. This is the guy who invented the video camera that we're connecting on right now. He invented video. He invented recorded audio. Yeah. He also invented the light bulb. And there's like 7 people watching who are going, do you know that it wasn't actually Thomas Edison who invented the light bulb? It was Tesla. And Edison stole that idea. Well, that might be true. And Steve Jobs might have stolen the mouse from Xerox. But the point is, he has more patents than any other inventor in U.S. history. Now, Elon Musk might pass him, but he also started GE, General Electric. You know, the guys who make engines and they make everything. If you go to the airport security, that's the guys.
Yeah.
Put your hands up and do this, and the machine, that's a GE deal. They bought the body scanner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. All right, so this is what Thomas Edison has to say, okay? He says, opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. What is he saying here? Why is this important?
Well, okay, I'll give you an example. My wife and I just yesterday agreed to buy this.
Oh, you did it?
Oh, we did, yeah.
Oh!
In the middle of nowhere, moving out to the middle of nowhere. Ooh, we're moving out there, campfires every day.
Look at that.
I can run out there, and I'm not gonna, don't visualize this, but I could run around naked while shooting off firearms, poof, 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 and I wouldn't get in trouble.
That's
what I've always wanted. I've ascended to a new level. Anyway, so I've got the new...
You've achieved your goals.
I've achieved all the goals I have. But anyway, so I'm just saying, like, the thing is, though, to find a house, it's a lot of work.
Right.
You got to look through the foreclosures. You're looking for auctions, bank sales, looking for houses that have been on the market for 6 months or longer, pulling up all the research, taking my sweet daughter who's on the set today, taking her all the different places, looking at all the places. You know, where my daughter sees a horse at one of the places. We're like, oh my gosh, we need this place. You know, then there's another place that's kittens. Another place that has a bad foundation. I can go on and on. We're going to all these places, meeting all these faces. We're starting to get emotionally connected to properties. We're making offers. Banks are saying no. Hundreds of hours go into it because it's hard work, but that's where the deal's found.
Right.
And we got a sweet deal, sweet. And so it's a neat deal. So again, I'll add to the steak dinner guarantee.
Okay.
If you do this stuff and you don't get promoted after you've been doing this move for 6 months, I'll buy you a steak and no, that is falseness.
I thought that's where
I'll
you're
get you a steak and I'll take you out to my new man cave.
Wow.
And we'll get out there, we'll grill some stuff. and we're just going to have a good way to look at my silky chickens.
I feel like you're motivating people now to apply these things and then do something to keep them from being promoted so they can hang out with you now.
So they don't want to come out to see me.
They want to. They're going to just sabotage this.
Oh, well, okay, I never thought about that way. But yeah, my forehead's actually, when you meet me face to face, my forehead's actually bigger than it looks on camera. They do a lot of Photoshop where they crush my skull down to make it look more limited, but it's actually bigger than advertised.
You're talking about hard work.
Yeah.
You're talking about how that's required,
Yeah.
okay, and opportunities hidden in that.
Yeah.
I know, just from being around you and hearing you tell these stories, that there's someone named Jason that he kind of personifies this in a big way. Tell me about the story of Jason.
Well, everybody who's watching this, at some point, like right now, you might be somebody who, you might not realize this, but you might be 5% farther down the path than somebody else in your office. Think about your life right now. There's somebody, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's a friend, there's somebody that you can mentor. There's you might be a mentee, but you also need to mentor someone else, kind of a give back deal. And in my life, I was being mentored by some great people, and I was having a lot of success in business, but not as much success as David Robinson. I was having success, but I wasn't having as much. Well, Jason was a guy who I was having more success than at that point in my life, and he was working with me as an employee. I say working with me, not for me, with me. Notice the difference. But he came to work, and he wanted to do more with his life. I think he was working at a grocery store. He lived in a double-wide trailer. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. That's not judgment. He was just in a spot where financially he was in a tough spot. He had a baby they had just had before they had a child, before they were married, and it was just a tough spot.
Right.
And he had this mentality that he wanted to grow, and he wanted to grow. Now, when he interviewed for the job, he showed up, and I remember he came. We had a big 5-acre property. We had all the DJ vans. It was a beautiful place. We had the house over here, then it was connected by a sky bridge. And so he walks up. I'll just kind of set the stage for you.
Do we get a claymation?
We do. Well, we do here.
Wow.
What happens is this is like this is the house maybe number 1 right here.
Okay.
And then there's this sky bridge that kind of connects over here to house number 2. And house number 2 is like this, and so it's kind of this neat deal where you had the house going on, then you had this other building, and this is where the DJs would work, and then this was where the house was. And when you would pull up here, it was a beautiful property, and he pulls up to the front door, had a big old massive front door. He gets up there, and you could tell he wanted that. He wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah.
He wanted to do that. And he'd kind of talk countrified. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a job." And I was seeing where you were. We was looking for a job, and he talked like that a little bit.
Okay.
Country, that thick country deal. But anyway, long story short, he wanted to get there, and he said, "I'll do whatever it takes. I haven't graduated yet. I'll do whatever it takes to get to where I need to go. You just show me." And that guy had the mentality, I'll do whatever it takes. That's where it starts.
Right.
Is you have to first off just decide right now that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And don't be afraid of it because it's dressed in overalls and looks like hard work. It was hard work.
All right, so if I'm watching this right now, I'm a thriver on the other side here. What is my action step? What do I take from this? What do I do right now?
Commit right now that you're willing to be the hardest worker in your office. You're going to do that.
Okay.
You're going to be, I would say just commit to performing the expectations of your job by 15%. Commit to just going extra. Because where you go extra, that's where you're going to start to see that extra pay, that extra result, that extra promotion. But if you want a promotion, get off this whole deal about how much time you spend at the job, how many years you've been there, how loyal you've been. No, get off that. Focus on where you need to get to.
And a big part of this too, I'm just thinking back to the quote, if you're talking about, specifically Russell Simmons, he's talking about finding a problem, and seeing, hey, the street's dirty, I could sweep that, and then get recognized. How much does this hard work need to be directed towards specifically finding a problem?
Well, what you're going to want to do,
see that happen?
What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead right now and make a list of all of the problems that your company has.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to list those problems off. So you're going to go, you know what, our customer relationship management software isn't very good. You know what, our website might need some work. I feel like the checklist that we use to greet customers isn't that solid. I think we could probably save money we could spend our money more efficiently. And so Jason came to me and said, hey, I feel like our customer relationship management software could be improved. And I'm saying, there's no way, bro. We're using Microsoft Paint. That's like one of the cornerstones of the Windows product. We're using Microsoft Paint. I mean, I'm talking like Paint. I mean, it's a JPEG. I'm saving it. Boom. And he's like, well, you can't search for any information. I'm like, I can. I name the file with the bride's name first and then the dude. So it's Amanda and Tom. What else could I need to know? And he's like, bro, I'm just telling you it's a limiting factor. And I'm like, okay, fine, I know, but I haven't wanted to deal with it because I can't do it.
Right.
So he says, I'll fix it for you, and then you just pay me what you think is fair. So I said, I'll pay you 3% of gross revenue if you can fix that, because I knew it would help us double the size of our business.
Right.
But I don't want to make up the number of hours, but I want to say for him it was, we're talking maybe, 200 hours, minimum to really get in there and get it done.
Right.
And maybe when it was all said and done implementing, he probably was going to have to spend like 1,000 hours. Now this is on top of his job. So it's like 20 hours a week for a year.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to pay him until he got it done.
That's huge.
But you know what? He had never developed software before. Now he went to college. If you're watching and you go to NSU, that's cool, Northeastern State University in Oklahoma, Tahlequah. Okay. That's cool. But he graduated with a degree in programming, computer programming, but he had no idea how to program a computer. What? But anyway, so he had no idea to do it. So he was testing on me.
Okay.
And the reality is when you see a problem and you want to solve it, guess what? They would have already promoted you if you knew how to do it. So you've got to go ahead and do it before you get paid. Promote yourself to the position of leadership.
Why does this make you stand out so much?
Because no one does this. This is like something that like maybe 1% of all, not even 1%. I don't know. In years working at the DJ business, everybody mentioned, our CRM's terrible, boss. I know. Fix it.
So the action item, first of all, is just to identify the problems.
Identify the problems, and then
that's the first one.
Identify problems that you can realistically solve. I'll say that.
Okay. Identify problems that you can realistically solve.
Don't point out stuff like, well, the economy in Detroit's bad, boss. Obviously. Thank you.
Okay, this leads us right into principle number 2 here, okay? Which is bring solutions. Identify the problem, find the problem, then bring solutions, okay?
And real quick on that, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
People typically bring solutions that are ambiguous. And as we get into it, just don't bring ambiguous solutions.
Okay, got it. Make it specific. All right, we've got another notable quotable here. This is from Peter Drucker. Can you go ahead and, I know he's kind of like the founder of like modern
There's a book called The
Effective
Executive.
Effective Executive.
It's called the Bloop Bloop Boop and Boop Boop Boom. Maybe you heard of his new book called Bloop Bloop Boop
not called that.
or his book called
not.
Anyway, no, but his book is called The Effective Executive. It's a book that Lee Cockrell, who used to manage Walt Disney World Resorts, has referenced. A lot of top executives have that book. It's kind of on their reading list of things they've read, And he's a management guru.
So he might know a thing about promoting people and getting promoted and what to do there. So.
Peter Drucker knows more than the average sucker.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
This is what Peter Drucker has to say, okay? He says, the best way to predict the future is to create it.
Come on now, Peter Drucker.
Now, how does this apply to what we're saying here?
Well, this is huge because, again, we talk about you have to promote yourself to the positions you want.
You have the power to do that yourself.
Okay, I'll give you an example. I remember that I was working at a job and I wanted to become the sales manager. So I walked to my boss's boss. I said, hey, I'd love to be the manager. And he's like, your sales are terrible. I know, but if I was promoted, they would be better.
I know.
If I would have been promoted, he said, you're not always on. You're not even on time most of the time. You're just barely there. I'm like, well, I would be early if I was promoted.
Yeah.
You don't dress very nice sometimes. Most all the time. You don't. I used to dress like I was in the Wu-Tang Clan.
Right.
For any of our rappers who are out, if you're watching this and if you're a rapper. No hate, just dress for the part that you want to have. So if you want to become a rapper, dress like a rapper. That's cool. But the problem is, I wanted to be a business guy, and I was dressing like a rapper. The point is, I kept thinking, I'll start doing that activity once I get promoted. That's not going to happen. You have to be the change you want to see. You have to create those opportunities. You have to create your own future by deciding right now to start doing the things that you know you need to do.
Why are people so reluctant to actually present solutions once they've found problems usually?
I have found that usually that requires thinking. And Henry Ford has one of my favorite quotes. He says, thinking is the hardest thing to do. Therefore, very few people do it.
Wow.
The thing is, so like today, just being real, I got up this morning at like 3 a.m.
Right.
And I've thought through how we're going to move into the new house. It's hard to do it, right? How many people think through and make a spreadsheet of their movement to a house? I do. Why? Because for me, moving is not stressful. It never has been. I just organize it all, put it all, make a team, schedule. That requires work.
Right.
Old school, though, I didn't want to work. I just wanted to, it's easy to like just, so I'll give you an example. For all of you who are watching who can't stand President Obama, which just works me on this. Whether you like him or not, the point is he's the president. He's the leader of the free world. He's got some stuff to deal with. He's got some things on his desk.
Right.
He's got some voicemails to respond to. He might even get an email or two a month.
I've heard of that.
So the thing is, if everyone in the country just had one problem, right? People are saying, well, we got to fix the economy. We gotta fight off the Russians. North Korea's getting a little intense. Why don't you do something about Iran? Why don't you show, well, specifically how I would, that's the tough question. So you're going to be thinking like specifically, how do we solve these big problems? And that's a tough thing.
Okay, so the first action item was to actually identify, find, write down problems.
That's right, that you can realistically solve.
The second one, for this principle, what are you saying we do?
Write out specific action plans for the things you want to, for the problems you want to solve. I'll give you an example. One guy on our team right now, Mixed Master Marshall.
Yeah.
He's a tall man.
6'8" a great.
6'8" a great. Bam. Here's the deal about Marshall. Marshall says to me the other day, hey, I want to solve this problem. And I'm like, okay, cool. What's the problem? He tells me the problem. I want to solve it. So I take him out yesterday for about an hour and 10 minutes, and it is a detailed, fastidious plan that is in great detail outlining the solution. So he's able to bounce them off me. I'm able to say, for him to implement, we can do this, we can do this, we can't do that, we can do this, we can do this, we can't do that. But he had such a detailed solution. He isn't in charge of that area. He saw a problem way over here, and he is here, but he says, I want to solve the problem over here. Well, guess what? The last time he solved a problem over here, he was over here. And so when he solved the problem over here, I said, you know what? You should probably spend some more time over here.
Yeah, moving up.
Moving up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So here I am right now. Here's the problem. I'm going to jump up to here to solve it. Oh, wow, you solved it. I'm going to go ahead and keep you here.
Right.
I see another problem up here. Okay, I'm moving up. Bam. I'll promote you up to that level. That's how you do it.
Most people, it's so funny that you say this now because I'm just thinking about any offices that I've been a part of, and you see so many times people say, like, they point out a very obvious problem or maybe a problem. It's like, good job, you did identify a problem. But I have very rarely seen somebody come with a preparation for a solution like that.
You usually get somebody who's kind of in that like Batman impersonation mode, and they'll walk up to you. This is what happens if you're the boss. They walk up to me and they'll say, boss, I've got a plan. And you're like, well, what's that plan? We need to increase sales. And you're like, why are you whispering and why are you talking like Batman? Because they're all nervous and they want to make it sound deep.
Right.
We need to increase sales and retention. We need to improve the culture. And you're going, thank you, Captain Obvious. You're welcome, boss, Captain Obvious.
Oh, that's so funny.
You know what I mean? It's just, it's like a weird, you want to say, do you want to wear a cape? Yes.
Right.
It's just, stop it. Stop talking like Batman and bring me ambiguous ideas.
Okay.
That's how they do it.
All right, third principle here. The first one is you've got find the problems.
Yep.
Bring solutions.
Come on.
And now be consistent is the third principle.
Oh, yeah.
Be consistent. I've got a notable quotable here from Jim Rohn. Tell us, why should we be listening to Jim Rohn here?
First off, we're not talking about Jim Rome.
No.
Jim Rome, the sports talk. No, we're talking about Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N. Jim Rohn was a man who grew up here financially and was able to get all the way up to the top, first by learning the dark art of sales, then moving up to becoming an expert manager, then becoming a leadership coach. Awesome.
Cool.
He lived the American dream, did the American dream, died on top of the American dream, and left a legacy for people.
Okay.
Very obsessed with self-development, with self-improvement, with self-education, with mastery of skills, knowing your oneself, self-actualization, achievement, just unbelievable. You talk about Jim Rohn, and it just, unbelievable.
Love it. This is what Jim Rohn has to say. He says, the greatest reward in becoming a millionaire is not the amount of money that you earn, It is the kind of person that you have to become a millionaire in the first place.
Yeah.
Now, what is he talking about, and how does this fit to the third principle here? Be consistent.
Well, I'm going to brag on Marshall in our office right now because it gets me going, gets me pumped.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. This right here, over here on the right, this is going to be, I'm going to say right here, this is like your attitude. This is your skills. This is just your overall value right here, okay? And then this right here is your income, right? So what you do is you're starting here at the bottom. At the bottom, everyone's at the bottom. Anyone can get to the bottom. You get a job, you're at the bottom. It's easy. Anyone can get there.
Okay.
So I'm working at Target, Started off pushing the carts around. I'm a cart pusher. No disrespect if you're a cart pusher. We all have to be a cart pusher at some point. And for me that was difficult. But the point is you start at the bottom, and then what you do is Marshall says, I'm starting at the bottom. So he starts at the very bottom level of Thrive, and he starts there, and he's working here, and all he's doing at the bottom is he's just being diligent. And you know what? Being diligent, you're not going to make that much money. It's just a low pay deal. You're starting here. But then he sees a problem up here. He sees a problem up here. Everyone else sees a problem up here. So he sees the problem, and he says, I'm going to see the problem, and I'm going to solve the problem. Right. Well, Colin Powell says that leadership is solving problems.
Right.
So all of a sudden, instead of just seeing a problem, he says, I see a problem, now I'm going to solve the problem. Well, when he solves the problem, he gets a pay raise. Well, now he's starting to see new, and I love Marshall, he's starting to see new problems. And the problems he's seeing, there are people problems, how to organize people, manage people, lead people, so he begins to see problems now that are leadership, where he can actually come in and make an impact in terms of leadership skills. Well, when you move up to a leader, you now have a ton of problems. But if you can solve those problems, you get another pay raise. Now, once you get to the next level, now you're kind of getting into this weird thing where this is mastery, where you now can you have a mastery. Well, when you demonstrate mastery of something, you get another pay raise because now you're in that top 5%. You get that top 5%, guess what? There's very few people up there, and you know what we need to do? We need to pay this person a lot more because they've got to manage a lot of people at the bottom that don't have these skill sets. So now you start getting into that six-figure club there. And that's what always happens. So I'm going to tell you, it's the kind of person you have to become. Now, if you go up to that final tip-top area where now you're solving a ton of problems, you actually own the business, run the business, manage the business, you can do those big things. Now you're in that top 1%, and that top 1% is the homeboy who's making $1 million.
Why is this principle so important and paired with the first two? Why can't I just find problems, bring solutions? Why is this so important to actually getting promoted?
Well, the thing is, you've got to, you have to be somebody who understands that to get to the next level, you have to change the way you think, the way you act, and improve your skills. You have to improve your skills. Guys, I have to improve my skills.
Yeah.
Old school, I know I talk about it ad nauseum, but Yellow Pages were hot.
Yeah.
They were the deal. They were the jam. If you could do Yellow Pages and billboards, you're just, business blows up. It's awesome. You got money flying from heaven just coming down. Whoa, yellow Pages. Money's coming from heaven.
Beautiful.
You're like almost a mystic. You go outside, money's just coming down.
Oh, wow.
People go, where does it come from?
Yellow Pages.
Yeah, but the thing is, now that's the internet. There's internet marketing. There's retargeting ads. You got to learn it.
Okay.
You can't go the way of the dinosaur and go, well, we never learned about internet back in college. We never did that, so I'm just not going to do that because that's just not. You hear people say stuff like, I'm just not good with computers. I'm just not good with technology. I'm just not a leader. I'm not really the kind of guy who, I'm just not really good with people.
So, okay.
Stop labeling yourself that way. You're worth so much more. You can do it. I know you have the talent and the skills needed to do it. You've got it, baby. You got it. You got it.
So, truth cannon here.
Yeah.
We're going to roll out the truth cannon. You work with people a lot. I mentioned it earlier. Clients, their employees.
Yeah.
What do you hear people say when they think that they're doing what they need to do to get promoted? What are they missing?
First off, what you hear a lot is you hear the entitlement deal. So what you hear a lot is, my dad owns the company. I should be the boss. My dad owns the company. I've worked here for 4 years.
Okay.
I deserve this. I mean, I'm the only one here who even knows how to do that. I have been there for them, and I deserve entitlement. There's a big entitlement thing.
Okay, entitlement.
The next thing you hear a lot is you hear the whole thing about, it's almost like I have this block. I have this mental block. I just don't do computers. I don't do leadership. I'm not a reader. I don't do CRM. I don't prefer meetings. I hate accounting. I don't really do accounting. I mean, I would do accounting, but I don't do internet marketing. I don't do public speaking. I would love to become a manager, but I don't speak in front of people. No, I do not speak in front of people. It's all these.
Refuse to do that.
Yeah, and then the final thing that you see is just this bad thing called a bad attitude.
Right.
Where the bad attitude is basically, it's kind of a combination of all this, but it's where somebody is just like, well, I hope if the company makes it, I'll stick around and I'll become a manager. If the company makes it, if things turn around, if my manager starts to treat me the right way, then I am going to begin to do the things that I need to do. It's this false belief that someday things will get better and now my attitude will improve. But I got to tell you what, your attitude is what people will hire. I can't even tell you. I can go on and on about this, but businesses will hire people, consultants, just because of their emotional state.
Right.
They will literally hire an inspirational speaker to come in and to talk to their group just for the purposes of changing the attitude, the emotional state of the audience.
It's hugely valuable.
So if you're working in your department, bring the energy. People you rub off on people.
Right.
They'll hire you there just to energize people. It's unbelievable.
So what's the action step here then? I mean, you've given us the first two. What's the third action step with this third principle, be consistent?
It's just a deal where you're going to have to decide to bring an unbelievable amount of skill, the desire to improve, the consistency of the work ethic, the just this belief that things are going to get better because you're going to make them better. You've got to be a problem solving. I'm going to write these up on the board here, okay? Because these are the three things you have to do consistently, okay? One is you have to solve problems. We all know that, okay? You have to solve problems. Next thing is you have to be future focused. You have to be future focused, okay? The third is you have to have optimism. You have to believe that things are going to get better. Not like things are going to get better because in due time the unicorns are teaming up with the leprechauns. They're going to be flying in from heaven and bam, they'll save us. There's a lot of people who do that. We kind of put these weird, if you and I are praying, I believe that that's a good idea. If you and I are hoping, I believe that's a good idea. If you and I are wishing, I believe that's a good idea. Meanwhile, while the guy's praying, hoping, and wishing, I'm going to be doing while praying, hoping, and wishing.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still going to pray, hope, and wish, but I'm going to do. But you have to have a problem-solving attitude. You have to be future-focused, and you have focus on the future. In high school, things were awesome. In college, the best years of my life. Since then, it's been downhill. No, you have to be solve problems, future-focused, and optimistic. You have to do it
for a while.
Yeah. You remember, what was it, Optimus Prime? Optimus Prime, remember the Transformers?
Yeah.
I don't know if this makes sense at all, but you just transform into optimism. I wanted to make a reference to Transformers. I'm glad I fit it in.
Good job. Well done. That was beautifully. It's like seamless, really.
Yeah, it just
seamless.
Seemed natural.
All right. You've given us the 3 action steps, okay? You've told us exactly what we need to do here to get promoted. We went through the first principle. It's finding problems. Find a problem, present it to your boss, but also bring the solution. And then be consistent with it. Don't do this for a week. Don't do this for a month. Don't do this for 2 days. Be consistent with this.
To quote the American philosopher Vanilla Ice.
Oh, yes.
You got a problem, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while the DJ revolves it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is helpful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, Clay, I appreciate your time. We've now learned exactly what we need to do to get promoted. And again, congratulations on being promoted to my Broda.
Quick question I want to ask you on this topic of kind of Broda, motion picture, Transformers.
Ice,
Do you know what a Decepticon is?
No.
I think you are a Decepticon. I'd like our program observer to put that graphic on the screen and the definition because I have a concern.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that compliment.
JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whoa. During the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. Whoa. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn accounting, you want to learn sales systems, you want to learn how to build a linear workflow, you want to learn how to franchise your business, that is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrivetime Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshops. We have the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, we've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com. Simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And so it says Tulsa, Jerusalem. It's I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrivetime Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done this show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, "Have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?" And I said, "No." And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed, to the business owner, to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you, thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you, thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, "I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this."
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say. Whoa.